What's going on, guys? Eric Black here, Parker Minor over there. This is Rockcast. Thanks for joining us
It is.
tonight. We're having a good time over here. You obviously didn't see it because you're just now starting to watch the show. Mainly,
we're having a good time over here too.
Yeah, we're just all having a good time.
Yeah.
Next time maybe you should join us. How about that? Oh yeah, COVID. That's right. We have to be socially distanced. All that wonderfulness. Well, you know what? I don't know. We'll telepathically have some sort of party. Listen.
That's right.
Here's what's going on. Another good week of the show. We're going to talk about music. We talk about rock. We talk about alternative. We can talk about some metal, all that good stuff. We have a very special guest on the show again this week. Parker Minor.
We do? Text me his name.
Okay, hold on. I will. Right?
Right, dude.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. So, all right.
Kids.
Are you ready? The one, the only, Zakk Sandler, formerly of Falling in Reverse. And of course, we can't forget the 10 years in Black Tide. What's up, Zakk, man?
Oh, I'm good, man. Hold on. My cat is trying to join in once again.
It's
Bud,
just a statue. It's fine.
What are you doing?
One guest at a time.
Can't join.
One guest at a time.
Wait, what's the cat's name?
His name is Buddy.
Buddy!
Perfect.
Buddy, say hey. All right, now get off my desk.
It's fine. Cats are welcome.
That's awesome.
He'll get back at me later.
Oh, yeah. Well, here's the thing, Zakk. I think we've got I think we've got a lot to talk about this here night. And
yeah, we do.
We got it. Yeah. It's almost as if we've done this before. It just feels like we've already, I was
just thinking it. Deja vu, man.
Kind of weird.
There's definitely like a glitch in the Matrix thing going on right now.
Weird.
I can't really put my finger on it. I'm afraid there's an agent that's going to be behind me soon.
Maybe
there is.
Maybe.
But
yeah, I've got an ejection seat, so we're all right.
Oh, sick. I wish mine did that. Mine works like a normal functioning whatever chair this is.
Is that a game chair? That's a game chair.
I guess so.
Yeah.
It was whatever was on sale on Black Friday at Office Mix.
It looks like
it is. It's
awesome,
it's a
comfortable chair.
Yeah, it's nice to spend a couple hours in the arms.
Does it have NOS?
So I can have what?
NOS? Does it have NOS?
No, it doesn't.
It looks like a Fast and the Furious seat.
It's not a 10-second chair.
It's definitely, it has like that bucket seat look, but not feel. Like it's not like the one that was like just ripped out of like like a Camaro or something. It's more like just ripped out of some kid's basement.
It's way better. I do like it.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I see.
I feel like we've done this before. There's like a rip in the space-time continuum or whatever you call it.
It's getting weird. Everything about it.
Flux capacitor.
Oh, Zakk, do me a favor.
What's up?
Talk to me a little bit about Black Tide. And you're a blat. I don't know. Talk to me about Black Tide and your experience.
So the quick, as quick as it can be, history on that band. We formed in 2004, I think it was.
Yep, it was.
That seems about right. 04. Is that what the Wikipedia says?
That's what it says.
Yeah.
2004.
I guess that's right. Whatever.
As a bassist,
we'll go with that.
Yeah. So that band was started in 2004. We were originally called Radio. We got really popular in our hometown. And eventually we got like some recognition from some like labels and stuff, and they flew us all over the place and treated us to a bunch of fucking dinners, and they're impressing kids, which is stupid because the fact that they were like, hey, we're interested was impressive enough. Like you really don't have to fly me to New York and take me to see Judas Priest. I was already sold on you guys. So a few years of that, shopping around labels, we signed to Interscope Records. Mm-hmm. Put out a couple records with them, put out way too many music videos with them, toured about as heavy, I think, as you can tour, especially at the fact that they signed us when we were all underage. I was 17 when I got signed.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I was a child, which is, it's just weird. Like I literally, and it was weird because I got signed, like, I think the contracts were in August, and that November I was turning 18.
Oh, wow.
So I still had to go back and like go back to my lawyer's office and sign contracts again.
A lot of legal stuff that year.
Yeah, there was. I met with a ton of lawyers in like state of Florida, like guardian ad litems, who were basically making sure that the deal was fair for all of us, which it was, because they gave us a bunch of money.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And yeah, so we did that, toured a ton, and then I'm sure the Wikipedia page is wrong. I think it probably says that I left in like
2013 or something.
Yeah, I think I guess that's about right. I think on paper I never actually left. Like I'm still an owner in the corporation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So
It's fine.
from a legal standpoint, I'm still in that band. And we actually
Nice.
did a reunion show a few years back for our 10-year anniversary of our first record, which is really cool. And that's kind of where Black Tide ended for me. And then in end of 2014, early 2015, I started playing bass for Falling in Reverse.
Nice.
And
I've never
toured
heard
with
of that
them.
band.
Yeah, no, most people haven't.
The new band.
You know, just like I think right now they have the number one rock song.
They're only
in the
number
country.
one rock song on the active charts as we
Yeah.
speak. And
Yeah.
you
It's
know
just
what?
number
You
one.
had something to do with that, my friend.
Mm.
Definitely did.
Oh wait,
Yep.
that song?
Well, not that song, but
Not that
leading
song,
up
that
to,
band.
leading up to
Yes,
it, you definitely had something to do with it.
I'm a part of the journey.
Yes, you are.
Which it's always nice to be like included and
Yeah.
represented in that light because the band's been really successful and I got to be a part of it for some really phenomenal years. And the only reason I stopped touring with them, there's no bad blood. There was nothing, there was no like weird thing that happened. It literally was like we had a bunch of time off and I was enjoying being home. And
Yeah,
it
that's
started as like I just want to like sit one out, like, you know, timing wise. Like I was like, I just want to be at home. There's not a ton of like touring on the books for the year. Why don't I take the year off, kind of thing? Which, you know, like everyone was like cool with. They're like, do we totally get it? Blah blah blah. You know, 13 years of touring.
Yeah.
It's nice to take some time off.
Yeah.
Well, this was a
And,
good
you
year
know,
to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was last year into this year, which last year they didn't tour too much. This year, obviously, nothing going on.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I was like missing out on anything,
Right.
really. And yeah, it's just kind of turned into like this. Well, I'm home anyway, and on paper, like, yeah, I'm not expected to be there with the band. Like, I'm not officially in it at the moment. But you know, it's not like some weird like, oh, we hate. Like I mentioned, you guys are like, I was texting with like Ronnie earlier today.
Yeah.
Like,
So at the beginning, though, when you decided to leave, was it a little hard to go to what we'll call civilian life, to go back to, not being on tour, weeks at a time and doing all that stuff. Was that a little weird at first?
Honestly, for me, not really. So when I started touring with Falling in Reverse, I was living in Orlando, Florida, and I still had a day job. Like that old saying, don't quit your day job.
Yeah.
But for me, like I've always maintained this level of like listen, I could play on the biggest stages, tour the world, do all that. I'm that dude that's gonna go hang out at the mall on a Tuesday afternoon and like hit up Jamba Juice and go to an H&M, like there's
Right.
like I don't look at myself in like that like special fashion or like a rock star. I've never had that mentality.
Yeah.
Cause to me, I'm like, oh, I'm a musician. I get to do something really cool.
Yeah.
Like it's just kind of like
That's
no
good.
different than the dudes that go and play on Broadway 5 days a week or the guys on stage in front of 20,000 people a night. Like,
Right.
So when I was even touring with them early on, I would literally like fly home from a tour. Actually, it was great. I remember after my first tour with them, we went to like Europe and Australia, flew back to the US. We were like direct support at Self Help Festival in San Bernardino in 2015, playing to like 15,000 people. And the next morning, I was on my flight home. I think I got home on like a Sunday, and then that Tuesday I was back working at Harley Davidson.
Oh my god,
That's awesome.
Wow.
Like, but to me, I'm like, that's what it is. Like I appreciate like actually working and getting up and having a purpose like every day, because I think that's important, especially
it is
in today's climate of musicians when everyone wants to be flashy and show off the cars and like everything they got. But to me, I'm like, I want to show off that I am no different than anybody else, and because I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm
lucky that I practiced an instrument well enough to
right.
Yeah.
That's
make
a cool
living
story. Yeah, that's really cool.
Well, and that's kind of where it's kind of where we're at. We don't want to do we just don't really want to be how do I say this, Parker? We don't really care about the cameras and the
Right,
microphones and all that stuff. It just so happens that this is how we have to do it right now. But it's more,
Yeah.
like you said, it's more about the stories. It's more about just understanding them as a person, understanding how, how they function, and which is always just like you and me, just like we do.
Yeah.
There's never anything different than that. They just happen to be rock stars. They have a lot of people know about them. That's really
very successful.
Yeah.
That's really it.
Yeah. And
so, to be able to do what we do on this side is we just want to hear some stories. We love being able just to talk to people, hang out. When we first started this, it was going to be, at a venue type scenario as opposed to
in person.
Yeah, as opposed to online. So it's going to be a little bit different format, just everybody hanging out, sitting down, having some drinks or something, just talking, just like we would as normal. And then our friend COVID hit.
Getting the realistic side of things.
Yeah.
I think it's most important. Hearing that story was great. I mean, it's very humbling. It's very it's what people need to hear. I mean, it's very
and it's funny because like I talked to a friend on God, this was probably like 2 years ago now. I'd done like a podcast for one of my buddies' things, and like I kept referencing. I was like, by no means am I in any way, shape, or form even close to who Bruce Springsteen is. But I've always found it funny after I watched his there was like that Netflix thing that was like that Bruce Springsteen on Broadway thing.
Yeah.
And I love that like he talks about like how he's always represented the working man, and like his music was the working man. He's the dude that got on stage in the Levi's and the work boots, and that dude was never that.
No.
And he says it. He's like, it's all a lie. It's all stories. He's like, I was a guy. He's like, I was a songwriter.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I didn't go work out in the fields. I didn't go do construction. He's like, my music appealed to those people because I know about that world. So like, to me, I was like, well, I kind of like being the guy who actually is the working man. Yep. Like, I think that I love that aspect. And it's always helped me understand that at the end of the day, without, getting on stage and like, having fans and doing all that stuff, I'd be the same person regardless.
Yeah. Well, and it keeps you grounded. It keeps you at that level to where you don't get a big head and all that stuff.
And there was a point in my life with my first band where, trust me, I got a really big head, and like, I thought it was always funny because like in my group of friends, they'd be like, "That's cool," but meanwhile, we have to buy your drinks. or they were like, why are we taking you to dinner right now? And I'd be like, because I'm a working musician, man. That means I'm broke.
I'm cool, man, but I don't have any money.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm on Jimmy Kimmel, but can somebody buy me a big one?
Right. So now, have you done anything like Jimmy Kimmel before that? Was that your first experience in that type of situation?
That was like of importance? No, Jimmy Kimmel was the first time. We early on as like a local band, we did like a handful of like, because like everybody in the band except for me was Hispanic, so it was really easy to get us on all those like Telemundo daytime whatever shows where literally they would like talk and I'd be like, cool, when do we play? Like, I don't know Spanish, man.
Just let me know. Just give me the cue.
So we did a handful of things like that. I think Jimmy Kimmel was the first big one, and then the boom of like kind of like those internet-based TV shows. I forgot what. There was a few of them that we did. I can't even remember what they were called, but they weren't like doing like Kimmel. Like that was a whole different experience.
Yeah, for sure. Were you a little nervous when you're going on there? Because I mean, you're playing potentially in front of obviously just an audience at that point, but then eventually a large amount of people.
Yeah, I've always kind of loved that my life is full of humbling moments. That are a part of much bigger things. Like, so the day before we did Jimmy Kimmel, we did a headlining show in, it might have been like Vacaville, like somewhere in like the Sacramento area of California.
Yeah.
And I think we played to like 15 people.
That's
the night before doing national television.
Wow.
So there's definitely that like, reality just sitting there looking at you being like, hey man, don't forget where you're really at.
Right.
Like, appreciate what you're going to do.
I mean, you treat that the same way as a 15,000 people crowd. So, I mean,
and we did. And I'll never forget, like, literally right before we were going to play, like, like Jimmy Kimmel comes up, like say hey to all this, and like as he's shaking our hands, he's like, all right, now don't fuck this up, guys. This is a big opportunity. And we're like,
That's awesome.
Thanks,
Appreciate
man.
it.
Like,
Appreciate
right,
those kind words.
No pressure,
Yeah.
but he was very nice.
It's,
Yeah.
it's
Thanks,
just
Jimmy.
national TV. Everyone's gonna see it. Not a big deal. Not a big deal at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, was it Don Rickles was
Oh
on the
my
show
gosh.
too, who I was like a huge fan of.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course I went to go say hi to
course.
him.
Have
And
to.
like, yeah, and like obviously he didn't care about who
Right.
any of us were. But he pretty much gave us the same advice. He was like, well, when you go on there, don't fuck up.
That's so funny.
Thanks, Dad.
And it was like, right, that's all I really wanted to hear from a guy like
Right.
him.
Way to make us not feel nervous at all.
Yeah. And we were incredibly nervous.
Oh my gosh. But it was fun though, right? You had a good time doing it and everything worked out and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we did it, and then I guess more people showed up to the
Nice.
next show.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what that counted for sure.
That is good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been right around when our record came out. Like I think it was that week, and yeah, I think we played like a sold out show at the Key Club, like
Nice.
like a night or two
Wow.
nights later.
Wow.
Rest in peace, the Key
Yeah.
Club. But
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
you know, it was like Van Halen stomping ground
Yeah.
at one point. But yeah, it was kind of cool to go from like that and be like, oh look,
Yeah.
it worked. You know?
Yeah. That's good.
So you have been on tour for quite some time. I mean, you've done a lot of festivals, you've done a lot of different things like that. You know, what are some of those things? You've played a lot of Warped Tours. Now we're very familiar with Warped Tour.
Yeah.
You know, it took a little break from Nashville and a lot.
Yeah.
But it came back for a little bit before it decided to end, but not really
Yeah.
end. Give us your experience on playing some of these festivals and how how they differ from maybe being in a festival to being in a venue and how that all works. I mean, you got media mixed in there and all that good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, they were always really cool because like you're essentially traveling in your own bubble.
Right.
Which is it's kind of dope because like you wake up every day, your bus might be parked somewhere else. You're getting up, you gotta find you find like the first bathroom that you can, like the first porta john that's there.
Yeah.
You're
Blow it
hitting.
up. Yeah, blow it up.
Yeah, no, and you want to be the dude who's hitting it at 7 a.m. Like
Right.
that's
Before everybody else.
yeah, the peak hours. You know what I mean?
Honestly, I really think that's how I met Ronnie the first time. I know this is funny, but it was 2018. I think it was the last run, and we were I was meeting Eric at the Warped Tour. I was like, man, we got to get down there so we can kind of get some of the good footage we need to get. So, anyways, I was just walking through the back because we had radio access, and we just kind of walked in, and first person I see is Ronnie, and of course I catch him. I'm like, oh, well, I'll wait 5 minutes.
It's all right.
It's fine.
Yeah.
No big
All
deal.
good.
I'll just come back. It's not big.
Yeah. But so living that bubble, it's you get up every day, you find catering, get breakfast or whatever, find out what time you're gonna play, and that kind of dictates how your day is gonna go.
Right.
Because like it's true. They would tell everybody what the set times were at like 10 or 10:30 in the morning.
Yep.
And the first band is on at 11:15.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like it's a crapshoot. So someday you might get up and it's like, hey, you guys are going on at 1:00, and then some days it's, hey, you're going on at 7:15. Like,
wow.
But you are kind of trapped to the confines of what's in that world, and I think it's really easy to get. It gets monotonous, obviously. Like the first week is kind of rough because you're getting acclimated to it. You're getting your sunburn going. Bang over is real.
Right.
Like all that's happening. So the first week's rougher than all the other ones.
Wherever Warped Tour goes, the sun follows, brother.
Yeah, and it's crazy though, because like it's a very like if you go to Warped Tour for a day, or any music festival, you are exhausted. Like by the time you get to bed, and I'm sure like just going, even as a patron or just working it from like a press, right? You need it 2 days to recover.
Yeah.
So imagine what it's like when you're like, oh, we're doing 6 shows in a row.
Oh.
Right.
Like, no.
But like it's weird. You fall into this rhythm. Like I remember Warped Tour ended, and I was like, dude, I'm not even tired. I could keep going for another 6 months. Like, it's
you got used to it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you're training all like your whole life for like a Spartan race, and then you do it, and you're like, that wasn't
not
that
hard. Yeah.
No. But then the first shower you get at home, or like the first hotel you hit, all of a sudden you're like, yo, I'm way dirtier than I thought I was. That wasn't a tan.
I thought I had a tan. It's not a tan at all. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
That's just the dirt.
But it is really cool, like for things like Warped Tour with how many bands are on it, like having that many days, you can actually see all the bands that you want to see.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know, unlike, you know, like a random festival date or like a radio date where you might catch somebody, you might be busy. You know, that one time you're going to get to eat is when your favorite band is on. Like,
oh yeah.
Because I mean, I'm a fan. Like, it doesn't matter like where I'm at, whatever. If I'm a fan of a band and they're on it, I'm going to go see them, and I'm probably going to stand in the crowd because I want the real experience.
Real, yeah, yeah,
dude, all the time. So for a thing like Warped Tour, it's a lot of fun, and just discovering bands that like you never would have heard of, like ever in a million years. Like,
well, and I think too that's the best thing about a festival is it's so easy. I mean, you pay like, you know, between $60 and $150 depending on what you want to do.
Yeah.
And, you know, a day or two, maybe sometimes even 3. I went to festivals where there was 5 days, and you know, we paid like $200 or $300 to go see all these bands. But there's no way that you're going to be able to see all of those bands individually. First of all, in that short amount of time, and second of all, for that amount of money, it was just insane. So why would you not want to go to a festival?
Never showered.
I still haven't showered
either.
Since then. That was like 6 years ago.
My man,
dude, I am committed. I'm committed.
You got like the nice glaze going on your face, like the first time you scrub, it's going to be like 3 inches of just.
I'll be able to make things out of whatever it is on my face and sell it.
You're honestly probably like without all that, like 40, 50 pounds lighter.
Absolutely. Sometimes I see myself like, you know, leaning forward because I feel like I'm a little top heavy. So that's probably what that is.
Yeah.
It's just the grease on the beard
situation. Yeah. But the good news is when I go to, you know, cook things, I just wring this bad boy out and we're good to go.
Yeah.
Oh, the stuff that gets caught in it.
Who needs vegetable oil, man? We'll just
I got plenty of. I mean, I use beard butter, so like I think I'm good to go.
Don't eat it though. I'm telling you this.
Corn on the cob, just rub it along the beard a little bit, man.
Dude, my beard butter smells so good. Like I would eat it. It's like this like shea. You know, it's like shea butter and sandalwood.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
You got a beard brush? Do you have the beard brush?
Of course I have a beard.
It's got a beard.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, I have
that's right.
What smells like leather on my face. It's amazing.
It's
so
wonderful.
manly. I like make out with myself all the time because it's amazing. I mean, why would
I don't blame you.
It is weird. I catch him every once in a while, but hey man, FaceTime me.
I'm
on here.
I'm here.
Yep. And the tongue is just everywhere.
Just weird.
All over
disturbing.
You know how it goes. You get it. You understand. Zakk, we're going to talk a little bit about a guitar company that I am very fond of, and we like to call them Schecter guitars, mainly because that's their name. I have an Omen 6 that I am very happy with right now.
Good man.
Now,
very good man.
What's your take on Schecter?
I mean, I love them to death. They're the short of like the 1 or 2 pieces that I have elsewhere. Like, you know, I've got a few Fender Strats and stuff. But
it looks like you have a couple behind you, actually.
Yeah, legitimately. My whole rack here is all Schecter. There's another hollow body off there. My storage like space in my place is flooded with so many cases and so many more Schecters. It's mildly embarrassing, but they're a brand that I discovered them. I'm trying to think like the way I think I first saw a Schecter probably because I saw like Avenged Sevenfold playing them.
Yep, that's right. I thought that first thing I was like, man, A7X.
Yeah, they were probably them, or it might have actually. No, I take that back. Papa Roach.
Oh, okay.
Schecter.
Have you ever seen Papa Roach live?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Dude, I've toured with them.
Oh,
they're the homies.
Actually, we've seen Papa Roach live, right?
Yeah. So that means,
but we didn't go together. Actually, Eric and I went together, and then we met Zakk outside.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, that's that bearded guy, man.
So with Schecter, I originally wanted to play their basses. I bought one of their basses in 2006, 2007. Fell in love with the body style, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And right before I did Ozfest in 2007, I reached out for an endorsement deal with them. And or I take it back, management reached out at the time.
Right.
And I got denied. The A&R guy that they're dealing with straight up was like, no, we're good. Like we don't need some other young kid playing them.
Right.
Whatever was going on there. So they told me, I was kind of bummed. They were like, oh, we can reach out to all these other brands. Like somebody will hook you up. But I was like, well, no, that's what I want to play. I was like, call them back, see if I can buy one or buy a couple, like, but like at an artist deal since I want to buy a few. And somehow that made its way to the guy who I thought was just the coolest A&R guy. Turns out Mark is the VP of the company.
Yeah.
And he's the only dude I dealt with there for a year. He's still really the only guy I deal with, but it's usually like, hey, I want this. And he's like, all right, cool. You're going to talk to Adam now. Like he's going to get you situated. Yeah. And he was just like, geez, like, I love that you just still want to play our brand. Like, what do you want? And he sent them to me. And, you know, the ones that I had like slowly evolved into me, first trying to leave the company once, and then them building me pretty much to spec, sort of a clone of a different brand in the sense of like I wanted pickup wise and what I wanted on the neck. So they kept me along because they just treated me well. Then they made me some customs that were like painted how I want them. My favorite was my main one. I think you can probably see more pictures of it like in the black tide years. It's this all white one, and on the back it says hate.
Nice.
Really big. Because I just hate everything.
Of course.
And then and then it eventually evolved into me picking up one of their P-Base style ones and having them essentially hot rodded for me.
Oh, nice.
And like when I say hot rod, like it doesn't sound like any other bass I've ever played. It feels better than every Fender I've ever owned or played. And they're perfect. Like I can't say enough good things about the diversity of those instruments, what they offer to artists, what they just offer to, the average consumer. Like you can go in, you can get a quality instrument for, I wouldn't call it like super expensive. I think the $600 to $800 range is a good median area for a guitar, and you get something that's the quality of like, $1,500, Gibsons that like the Schecter guitars that I play now play better and sound better than a lot of Gibsons I've picked up.
And you don't have to feel bad if you slam it on the stage.
No, exactly. And that's one of my big things is short of the tiny custom things that I have done to them afterwards. Which is usually like, I get pods switched out, just like really nerdy techie stuff. That I'm like, oh, the capacitors on these pots are better.
Yeah.
Which nobody can tell anyway. But like if I were to break one on tour, I could, short of Schecter sending me a brand new one, like overnighted, if I was in a pinch, I could go to Guitar Center, buy one off the wall, and it's going to sound just as good.
Right. Yeah.
Like there's no gap in what I'm getting and what you can pull off of a wall at a music store. And I think that's a clutch thing with any guitar company, bass, whatever. Like if you can just get a quality instrument that's mass produced, like why wouldn't you do that? Know that their level of detail is put into every single one that goes out.
All right, so I've got some questions. They're would you rather questions. Are you up for a little game of would you rather?
I love a good game of would you rather.
Yeah. Okay, good. This is going to get they're not going to be too crazy. I don't think they are, but maybe they are. Okay. I don't know. We'll see. But
I like weird.
Weird is that's pretty much what we are.
It's what we do.
We both live in that world. We are weird.
Yep.
So the more we do this, the more you're going to understand it was a horrible idea. First question. Would you rather get hit in the kneecap with a solid metal pipe or literally be stuck in bed for 40 days? That's all you're doing. You're just stuck in bed, or you're getting Nancy Kerrigan in the kneecap.
Oh. Dude, that's a really good one. So my take on it, if I get hit in the kneecap with a steel pipe,
it's gonna hurt,
and I'm probably gonna be laid up in bed for 40 days.
Right.
Possibly.
So I would rather skip the pain. Hold on, if I'm laid up in bed, do I have like phone access? Do I got a laptop, or am I just like I'm in a room by myself, like
what do you prison? Whatever you have at your disposal right now in your bed situation, that's what you have.
Oh, dude, I'll take bed for 40 days. Easy.
So you're potentially gonna go through bed sores and hurt all that wonderful crap
that's fine. I can stretch my legs in bed.
That's good.
And like I can move in it. if I'm incapacitated because like my knee and potentially ruining my life forever, I will take the bed for 40 days. I think that I'd probably get really sick of it and I'd be like really tired of the room by then.
Probably.
Right.
But
kind of like a quarantine.
Right, but also the journey back into like getting into real life would be a lot of fun. Like the journey back from a knee injury is terrible.
Not
like,
great.
There's rehab, there's pain. Like, you know, I'm good. I don't want that. If I can avoid pain, I will. So I'll take bed for 40 days.
That's good.
You're gonna be in bed. You're gonna be laid up in bed for 40 days. All right, that's fair. I dig that.
Done.
All right.
Yeah, I feel good about that.
This you might not feel great about. This is the next one here, and this one makes me a little bit like, what is wrong with you?
Do you come up with these on your own, like in your free time?
He does.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
We're not gonna talk about that though.
I'm just trying to get the picture painted.
It's usually I'm pooping and I'm like, ooh, would you rather? You know, that's how that works.
Right.
You know how it goes.
He'll text it to me first though, and then I'm like, oh,
he's pooping too, and I'm like, oh, great, now we're on the same
It-
poop schedule.
It works really good.
I just play solitaire while I'm sitting down. On
Oh,
the
yeah.
throne.
That's probably more valuable of your time.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
That's great. All right. Would you rather, Zach, lick the floor of a poorly cleaned gas station bathroom
Ooh.
or be flogged, which is whipped, with a cat
know
of
what
nine
flogging
tails 10 times? And a cat of nine tails, for those of you out there that have no idea what that is, that they put glass and metal and all this random like tacks and stuff in the end of these strips of leather, and there's 9 strips and they just kind of whip you with it. It's not a great experience. So let me say it again: lick the floor of a poorly cleaned gas station or be flogged with a cat of nine tails 10 times.
All right, let me preface this with
Break
who
it
is
down.
doing the flogging.
Eric Black.
That's me.
So it would be you, or at least somebody of your build.
Yes.
So it's not like a 5'4" like Japanese woman in leather.
Not as unless I get sick, that's my backup. But if I'm sick, then that's who you're gonna get. Yeah. But otherwise, it's me. Yeah.
I gotta think strength on this one.
You do. Yeah.
Where am I getting? Am I getting hit in the back, in the butt?
It'll be your entire backside, maybe even your sides, however long the strips are. And I haven't made it yet, so you got to give me a minute. If I can, I didn't know you were going to actually want to do that, so I got to make it. But they're probably going to be decent size,
at least a foot long.
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, in my younger formative years,
right.
The things that I've probably encountered in a poorly cleaned gas station bathroom that have ended up in my all right, I'll not beat around the bush. Drugs in a bathroom.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
If you think of it that way, like that's probably I didn't die from that, so I probably wouldn't die from licking the floor of one.
Really?
I mean, dude, I used the bathroom in CBGBs before. Like,
okay, well, that's fair. All
so
right.
I toured in a van for a long time. I think I could handle that.
Wow.
What about the bathroom from Dumb and Dumber?
Yeah, no, I'm fine with that. I'm gonna go with the bathroom. And that's purely based on like, once again, like my recovery time from what's going on. Because like, let's be real. Worst case scenario, I'm walking out of that having to get a shot of penicillin.
Right.
Or a couple.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
And the other one, I'd probably just be in a lot of pain, and I feel like it wouldn't be an enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
Like some of those can be, depending on what you're into. So
yeah. Plus, then you'd be back in the first position in bed.
40 more days.
Right. I'm right. Exactly. So, yeah.
Interesting.
I got weird routes of risks that I'm willing to take.
You are the most like complex person. You break everything apart with these. Nobody really does that. They're like, well, I don't know, just this, I guess. Well, don't guess. Yeah. This is if you had these 2 choices and that's it. Yeah. What would you do?
You got to think long term.
Yeah.
If you're not looking past the surface, like you're in a lot of trouble.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Well, that's interesting. I'm glad we had this little chat. Now I know a little bit more about your thought process, and you don't care about dirty things. I like it. It's very nice.
I like I said, dude. You tour enough, and all of a sudden you're like,
yeah.
I mean, let's be real. Everybody's dropped a piece of food on the floor and been like, 5-second rule.
Right.
No, 20-second rule, baby. Woo.
20-minute
exactly.
rule.
Yeah, I mean, hell, if it's your own
yeah.
house and you know that it's been cleaned, you're
Oh,
like,
that's fine.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
So
The cat box
Eric does that all the
sifted.
time.
The cat box has been sifted. It's fine.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Tootsie
yeah,
Rolls.
Exactly. My cat goes and uses the box, and then I have no problem, and he's on my chest or something. He puts his paw in my mouth.
He's
like, so
"Hi."
really, right? And I'm like, oh, it's so cute.
It's
Yeah.
just poop.
But
Tastes like
right,
poop.
exactly. And I'm like, why do you smell funny? And you just kind of move on. Or when the dog,
That's
God
right.
knows what she eats, and she comes and
Oh,
licks at my
Lord.
face or my beard.
Right.
Like,
Right. Or she's licking herself. Whatever.
Yeah.
Fine.
It's just cleaning
the
the palate
worst.
for later.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Get a new taste in there so you can
That's
get a
right.
taste later.
God.
it's an excellent mug you have there.
Well, thank
Oh,
you,
it-
sir. Yeah, I stole it from a Viking. Don't tell
Good
him
man.
because I'm hiding.
Yeah.
No,
That would not be good.
it is. It's actually quite stylish.
Yeah.
It makes me feel really cool. The only thing I don't like about it is the 4.5 foot.
That is huge. It's like a
Scenario.
music note.
It's
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. It's like a bass clef, but I mean,
Mhm.
because when I watch. It's kind of weird, but I like it. I like it a lot. It's just I wish it wasn't so much like a weapon, I guess, and
Yeah.
more of like a drinkable situation. But whatever, it's fine.
I dig it.
It's all good. It's all good.
I need to get that for drinking my morning coffee.
Yeah,
That's right.
it's actually dirty bathroom water that's in here right now because I knew that I knew
Perfect.
that you would pick that. So we're
Yeah.
peas of the same pod.
All bathroom water is dirty. Just think of the particles that float.
Floaters. Yeah. Yeah.
Floaters.
Not great. Not great. I don't know, man. That's I don't know. All right. Well,
Oh.
we got a couple more things I want to talk about.
All right.
And we got to clean this up a bit. No, we don't.
Okay.
No, we don't. Let's not.
No, we don't.
that's-
No, it's going
Too
to be
far.
the same.
No, yeah, let's not do that. We're going to talk a little bit about labels. You've had some label experience. We've already talked about that, here and there. You said that you have. How long have you been associated with some sort of label situation? Not necessarily on a label, but when was that? 2004,
2000.
Seven.
The first people that we ever even spoke to is 2005.
2005. So you
Yeah.
have many years of label experience. What has changed that you've noticed anyway between 2005 as far as a label goes and 2020? I mean, obviously take COVID out of there. That's not, don't worry about that. But like, what are some of the changes now that the label was this and now the label does this or is this?
Well, I mean, I'd say probably every like 7 years, there's some sort of major shift in just how they operate.
Right.
So from my experience, in the earlier part of my career, the label was, for all intents and purposes, a huge piggy bank.
Right. It's like a credit card.
Yeah, it really is. Like they're going to give you all that money up front. You're going to have to pay it back. There's certain money that they're like, we understand you're not going to pay this back, so we're just going to give it to you. Like, a lot of tour support that, like, say they give a band like $100,000 in tour support, you don't have to pay that back. They're going to write it off. But when you ask for like another 20 grand near the end of the cycle, you're on the hook for that. Which sucks because depending on your deal, I'm sure you've heard a lot of people talk about 360 deals, which essentially is their way of being like, hey, because we're not making money off record sales now, we're going to make money off of your merchandise, or we're going to make more money off your streaming, or we're going to pay you more money per CD that you sell.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was a time when artists would see like $1.50, $2 per unit sold. So when you hear somebody sells 1 million records, you're like, yo, they made $1 million on it. Of course, a part of that has to go back to recouping what the label gave you to make the record.
Right. Yeah.
And if you're idiots like my first band was, you spent $500,000 on it.
Oh man. Wow.
Oops. But that was the other thing. Budgets were bigger.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't crazy to be like, hey, we got this new band, nobody's ever heard of them. Let's spend $1 million and make them huge. We'll make more in the long run anyway. And my early band, we had a really good lawyer who negotiated us from it being a 360 deal to being like, all right, we'll go 50-50 on the merch with you. And we're still going to make like, you know, whatever, $1.67 per unit.
Right.
Like there were some compromises and they were fair deals. Like, and no deal, I think at the time had even been negotiated like that.
Wow.
Where it was like, where basically it's a partnership opposed to indentured servants.
Sure.
Yep. But fast forward, like even like our second album cycle, all of a sudden it went from cool, you have a $500,000 budget to make your record.
Yeah.
To all right, well now you've got $120,000 to make your record.
Ooh,
which
that's a big change.
When it is, but like in the grand scheme of things, now if you were to go get a deal, maybe not necessarily like a Universal or Warner Brothers,
right?
You can make a record for 10 grand.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
Now, granted, a band like us, like we wanted a larger producer. Sure. So like our first record was done by Johnny K, who'd done like Disturbed and Stained and Megadeth, and dude, like, you know, you go into the studio and you're like, look at all these platinum records.
Yeah.
And then the next record we did with Josh Wilbur, who's pretty much the guy in heavy metal these days. Yeah. Everything from like Lamb of God and Trivium. Like, you want to make your, and he co-produced it with Garth Richardson, who had done the very first Rage Against the Machine album.
Oh, that's
Clyro.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, like you want a dude like that on your side. Sure. So, but like when you look at the budgets, you're like, yo, that's the team that we probably should have been spending half on. So there's been a lot of budget cuts. They've downsized the labels to an extent where they're like, well, you can just pile more work onto people because they can. They focus more on social media than they do actual marketing. Like social media marketing is more important to them than putting a billboard up. You know, with print media and radio being dead, those departments don't really exist anymore. Like they do, but in a substantially smaller capacity. So there's just been a lot more of that, which is probably why you see larger bands these days putting out records on smaller labels or just starting their own. I mean, hell, Metallica has their own label now. You know, the Foo Fighters have always done it through their own label and like essentially leased out their records to whoever it is, like Warner, to put out. And like, all right, cool, they'll make some money on it because they're going to handle this end of it financially. But at the end of the day, it belongs to Roswell Records.
What's your opinion on an alternative to radio?
Like the digital age of it, I think that the start of it, things like Sirius XM, I think that was such a brilliant move because it removed the restrictions that we had in radio. It was a more broad audience. You could do it as simple as like, you know, open up your laptop or on your phone, listen to these stations, and really hear an actual array of music and not just what some programming director in that market felt was necessary because it was so opinion based regardless. But I think that there was a big drawback of it was, you know, digital radio to physical radio, they should have met in the middle somewhere and worked with each other and not so much against each other. Like iHeartRadio had the right thing going where it was like, hey, get our app for whatever it is, like X amount of dollars a month, and you can listen to any radio station in the country. Like that's cool. So I think they missed the mark on that. But even just everything that went digital as far as music anyway, things like iTunes and Spotify and Tidal and Amazon Music, whatever. I think they're just doing such a disservice to the artists. Because they're not really paying. They're paying a 16th of a cent per spin. Like
it's crazy.
But it also brings up the argument of, well, cool, are you making music for money or are you making music for art? Because if it's art and you're just like, I want to get it out there and I want people to connect to it, then who cares that you're making a 16th of a cent?
Then great.
But if you're trying to pay the bills, it's not a feasible way to live. And I think there needs to be some sort of reform. I don't exactly know what that answer is, but I think artists, if they were smart, would pull their music off of all these streaming platforms and just do it on their own.
Well, and that's what I've been saying. Although I'm not really a fan of labels, and it sucks now that I say that because that's who I have to deal with on a daily basis are labels. But I'm not a fan. Like I've never been a fan in any band that I've ever been in. I've been adamant at saying I don't want to be on a label. I think we can do everything. All we got to do is network, and it's true. If you network enough, I mean, obviously a budget is necessary, but you can still
Right.
do a lot on your own as an independent band. And nowadays, where when I was growing up in bands, now there wasn't internet, there wasn't all these independent labels that there are now. There wasn't anything like that.
Right.
So now you have all these different ways of doing this. Labels now, I consider them as like, and I think this is mostly accurate, but just distribution deals. There's no like you're going to get $500,000 anymore, unless you're a huge thing. But it's not like that anymore.
I mean, those deals still exist.
They do.
I've seen them.
But it's not prominent.
They do, and it's not a big thing. But on the flip side of that, I do think that I have such a love-hate relationship with labels, because like I do really feel like if it's done right and everybody you're working with has the same vision, it can work out really. Like that was the thing about my first band. Like with Black Tide, I can say from day one, our A&R guy was like, do not write me a hit song for radio. He was like, you guys like to play like this like weird quasi new age metal. Like you want to sound like AC/DC, but you want to sound like Iron Maiden. Like do that. Please do that. That's what's missing from the world.
That's right.
And he believed in it. And like, when marketing people like, oh, maybe we should have him like dressed more like this, he'd be like, no, they're a bunch of kids. Like
let them play.
Let them just be who they are. And I mean, we're talking those Interscope records. Like they're working Lady Gaga and us at the time. Obviously the people who were working Lady Gaga, who were a lot of them were the same people. We maybe should have listened to them, but like, but they weren't fishing for it, because they were like, we're not trying to get like a one-hit wonder out of you. We want a career for you, because that's important. And when we went to make our second record and we like turned in songs and all that stuff, we were like, what do you think? They were like, can you just do what you did on the first record? Like, why are you trying to change? Why are you trying to write these like catchy radio hits? Like, that's not how you're going to build a career. That's how you're going to sell out. So, so I think it's all about your team.
I agree with that. And if your team is on board with you, regardless of whether it's a label or just a PR team or a management team, doesn't matter what it is, you have to go right out of the gate. You have to have that team that is they believe in you. If you get any vibe that they don't believe in you, obviously go find out why. But if you get any vibe on that, they're not for you. They have to believe in your product. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to sell it the way that it needs to be sold. They're not going to be able to promote it the way that it needs to be promoted.
Yeah. The advice I give to any of my friends in bands or people who are talking labels and management and booking agents, all that, I'm like, when you talk to them, if they're not looking you in the eye, if they're doing that 50-yard stare shit when they're talking to you,
they don't care,
or like they seem preoccupied,
just leave.
Get out of the room. Like if they aren't that interested to like look you in the eye and talk to you, go. And that's I can't say it's true 100% of the time, but like
it's a good point,
dude,
though.
I've talked to people that like I'm like, you're not paying attention. Like I could say pretty much whatever, and you're gonna be like,
sign
cool.
here. No. No.
But I think it's important. I think it's important for the musicians to be educated into what they're getting into. Not the conjecture of the
absolutely.
internet.
Short version would be, so would you say that labels are still relevant to an extent, depending on the deal that you get from them? Okay.
Absolutely. I think they're still relevant if they know that it's not a situation where you're working for them and you guys are working together.
That's right. Because I think that's the key is you're not working for them, you're working together, because they came to you, for a reason, and you need to remember that.
If anything, they are working for the band. Right. They should be working for the artist to achieve those goals. And yes, they have ideas on how they want to do things and visit every avenue. But remember, like, you ain't going to make money off a person who's unhappy.
Exactly.
That's how me and Eric are. Everybody works for us.
That's right.
Yeah.
Except for Zach.
He's his own entity. He's freelance.
Yeah.
I pretty much am. Yeah.
Oh man. Zach, we appreciate it. Where can we find you online?
My somewhat vacant, rarely updated Instagram page these days. As I've said a lot, with so much going on in the world, I don't think there needs to be a million post updates of like, look at me noodling on my guitar at home. Look at my dog. Like, it's cute. Like today I posted like the new Deftones single.
Oh, I know, right? And then
because it's just awesome.
It deserves it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, all right, everyone check this out.
That's
but
awesome.
like but I try to stay off social media as much as I can. I'm over it. I can't stand it. And like I said, there's so much more in the world going on than, the stupid things that I'm going to post or another photo from 2009. Like,
right.
But my page is ZAKK_SANDLER, my name. More than welcome to go give a follow over there. But
follow it.
Like I said, in the grand scheme of things, I'm a guy who posts some music stuff sometimes, some cool photos, but I survived without social media all throughout like high school and the early part of
my 20s.
By the
way.
Yeah. I didn't get an Instagram until 2015.
Nice.
I avoid all the other ones. Like I have a Facebook page that the only way you're friends with me on Facebook is if you probably have my phone number.
Right.
Like, I like to keep my
otherwise it's on MySpace.
Right.
Yeah. Which is probably still active
somewhere.
But yeah, I just try to stay off of it. I don't think social media has become the great tool that it could be. I think it's just become a place for people to hide and bitch. And I'll be honest, I love that everybody has a voice, but the world worked just fine before everybody could hear your voice.
So really what Zakk is saying is if you want to get a hold of him, just go to his house, just knock on his door, go hang out.
Just visit.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's fine. You'll probably see me walking the dog. If you see me with a pink poop bag, that means that the dog did something.
Or it's a really weird scenario that you probably should just turn and run. Either way, you got
just be a Sunday
chance.
He'll probably be in his boxers. What's the brand name that you wear?
Oh, Krakatoa.
Krakatoa.
Yes. You gotta do yourself a favor. Check it out.
That's right.
They're the most comfortable underwear I've ever worn. It's so stupid. The amount of clothing brands that I've gotten throughout my entire life, from Levi's and Fox and Affliction and pretty much every trendy thing that was cool between 2007 and now. And I'm like, dude, Krakatoa underwear, they knocked it out of the park, man.
Dude, that's all about the comfort.
And besides, Converse stopped giving me shoes. So
yeah, come on, Converse, where you at?
Bring them back, man.
Yeah,
I'm going PF Flyers.
We're going to Vans.
Yeah, no.
Converse, come on.
Well, Zakk, we appreciate you being on the show tonight, and looking forward to seeing what else is coming up from you. I know there's a lot of stuff that you're working on and things like that. So.
Yeah, there's and I'll say it here now. I've written a lot of music. I've got way too many demos right now that I think in the next 12 months there might be a Zakk Sandler album.
I like it. Yeah.
Who knows? It won't be called Zakk Sandler.
Well, we'll come up with a name. It'll be all right.
We look forward to that. Yeah. Let us name it.
Yes. Okay.
That's dangerous.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Don't do that.
Well, guys, thanks for watching. Zakk, thanks for being on the show. It was a good time. We do appreciate that. Go follow him and follow us. ericblackwashere.com/Rockcast. All of the stats are over there. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all of those places. If you want to, you can download the show. You can also share the show. You can like the show. You can subscribe to the show. Whatever that means for you and whatever platform that you're on listening to this now, just share it. However that means to you. Like everything that's about this show and like the people that are on this show, all of that good stuff. We appreciate you watching. Appreciate you listening. However it is that you ingest this show. Thanks, guy. Thanks.
Yes.
Thank you. This is Rockcast. I'm Eric Black. That's Parker Miner and our good friend Zakk over there. See you guys again next week. Bye.
Thanks, Zakk.